Silence is a new thriller that is going to be out on VOD on Friday. It stars Claes Bang. I think that's how you say his name. Not 100% sure. Olga, Kurylenko, and Brian Cox. When Will discovers his wife Rosalind and their 3 children have suddenly disappeared, he sets off on a frantic search across Europe. He finally locates them in a remote village in northern France, but relief turns to horror when Will discovers that his baby son has mysteriously died. Will sets out to discover the truth about his wife's disappearance and the death of his son, finding him at odds with Rosalind's former stepfather, Milton, who wants to protect her for his own private reasons. Bay of Silence is definitely not what I expected it to be. I thought that this was going to be more of like a slam-bang kind of action-ish thriller. It's more of a drama. And that's not something that I think works against the movie. It's something that I think is a strength for the movie. It doesn't have to rely on all the big gadgetry and gun shootouts and all that. It plays off as being more suspenseful and more tension-filled. Whether or not you feel as if this movie has all of that is completely up to you. The biggest problem I have with The Bay of Silence is that it takes a long time to reveal its antagonist. For the longest time in this movie, it feels like there's no antagonist. And you're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and trying to figure out who this main antagonist is, and it's finally revealed at the end. And then when it's revealed, you always had your suspicions. The movie doesn't do a good job of weaving around who this main antagonist may be, and it also doesn't do a good job of presenting a main antagonist. The movie acts like it's suspenseful. It acts like it's full of tension. I felt, for me, I didn't have an emotional connection, and I just felt as if the tension and the suspense had just been pulled out of this movie. It was just sucked. All life was just drained out of this movie. It's slow. It's about an hour and a half. It moves at a slow pace. There's scenes that feel like they're building to something, and then there's other scenes that don't. The middle of the movie is probably the most creepy and disturbing part of the movie. It weaves along its narrative in a way that doesn't really intrigue you. It doesn't really interest you. It kind of just makes you feel like you're along for the ride, that somebody's dragging you by a leash and is literally forcing you to go on this ride with them, as if it's mandatory. That drained all the suspense and the tension out for me. Plus, too, I never felt as if anybody was in danger. That's another huge reason why I felt there was no suspense or tension in a mystery thriller, which there should be. There's some weird things that happen with the characters that I'm like, that's interesting. And then there's some things that happen where I'm like, I don't really like that. This script for me was a bit all over the place. It's not convoluted. I'll give the movie that. It's just the story it's presenting isn't intriguing. It's not as interesting as it feels as if it is. These characters also lack a lot of development. Brian Cox's character has, like, army ties, and that's all you know about him. There's this one guy that shows up in the middle of the movie. He's in, like, 3 scenes. He's just some stranger who's helping our main protagonist. I do not care about some random stranger we know nothing about. And he's in 3 scenes of the movie. The performances are adequate. Claes Bang. Sorry, apologies again if I said his name wrong. I think he was fine. Olga Kurylenko is fine. Brian Cox is fine. You know, I mean, they're doing a good enough job to keep the movie afloat, but for me, this was just kind of a slog. Without that suspense and without that tension, without any sense of danger for the main protagonist, it was more of him just following clues, him traversing the world and retracing his steps without any sense of hostility towards him. It just kind of drained all the life out of this movie for me. Performances are adequate enough. I mean, I think this movie just needed a tighter script. Now, I know this is based on a novel, so I'm not sure what the source material is like. If this is a faithful adaptation of the source material, I cannot tell you that. You will enjoy The Bay of Silence as much as you enjoy stale popcorn. This movie just didn't sit well for me. There's no suspense, there's no tension, all because that sense of danger is just drained out of the movie. So guys, what did you think of The Bay of Silence? Drop me some feedback in the comment section below. I will leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden. Stay tuned for more reviews coming very soon, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.